Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to season 3, episode 3, overall number 24 of the Small Talk podcast with co-hosts Marlene Sharp and Chris Pomay, a monthly entertainment podcast show with various guests from around the world. And I'm really excited for our show today here on Monday, March 31st, 2025. Or sorry, 2025. Yeah, I can't believe it. I got the years mixed up. But I'm going to bring on my co-host Marlene, and we have a special guest joining us in a couple of minutes as well. So I hope everyone's doing well here. And the Small Talk podcast is live streamed on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, X, whatever you call it, and Instagram, and available on all major audio platforms as well. And I'm going to bring on my co-host, Marlene Sharp. Good afternoon, Marlene. How are you?
Hi, Chris. Yes, good afternoon. It's nice to see you. And we're recording at an earlier time of the day, so it feels a little weird, but weird good.
It's 12 o'clock your time. It's 3 o'clock my time. And for our guest, Selena Ella Moon, it's 4 o'clock there. So this is a time zone show here, which is amazing with this technology nowadays.
Yes. Sometimes the scheduling is the most amazing part, just getting people aligned and on time in the right place.
Absolutely. And we're going to bring on our guest right now. She was on my other show a few weeks ago, and I met her through TikTok. And she's now, I consider her a friend as well. And her name is Selena Ella Moon. She's an intuitive business consultant and the founder of Soulpreneur Institute. And she's also the author of a book called Element Wellness as well. And I think we're going to talk to her a little more about the book because the last time we didn't get into it, but we're going to bring her on right now. And she's from the eastern part of Canada, Nova Scotia. Good afternoon or good evening.
Selena.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Pleasure.
How are things your way in Nova Scotia right now, weather-wise too?
It's spring and it just snowed again.
Ooh.
We're literally like car covered in snow, snows everywhere. It's wild.
Wow.
I was getting so excited because the weather was really warming up and it was just such a nice, time to go out for a stroll. And now we're back to snowland again. So it's quite interesting around here. But you know what? It's still beautiful being by the ocean. I'm not going to complain.
The Atlantic Ocean, right?
Yeah.
Very nice. I've never been up that far northeast, but it sounds like it would be a beautiful place to visit.
It's gorgeous. Absolutely recommend it. You'd love it. Yeah.
Speaking of weather, how's the weather in California right now?
We had rain. We had rain a little bit last night and this morning. So it's very wet outside, which we welcome the rain, even though it's very hard for us to cope here because we're a bunch of wimps. But we'd rather have rain than fires, so we'll take the rain.
Here in Ontario this weekend we had freezing rain. So you had rain, we had freezing rain, and you had snow. So a little bit of everything.
Yep, sounds about right. That's North America for you. A little bit of everything.
Yes. Well, I'm looking forward to learning more about your business. Intuitive entrepreneurship sounds like something we should all aspire to.
Yeah, well said.
Intuitivity is not to be sneezed at. Very important in business.
Absolutely. And I'm a really big believer that we're shifting the way that we experience business in our lives as we start to develop a deeper understanding of our path and our purpose and how our passions and happiness can merge into our business experience. And I believe that it is possible to be successful in your business by listening to your intuition and connecting with your higher self rather than just doing things the way that you've been told or the way that the typical business models work. There's a lot of business models out there. A lot of people are getting a lot of advice, which is great. I mean, there's so many ways to run a business, but I believe that when you follow your intuitive guidance, you can really just like strike a fulfilling path in a way that is really harmonious, not just financially, but spiritually for your purpose. And so what I do is I created an institute where I teach people how to do this. I've been running my own soul-led path for 12 years, and I left the corporate world to do this, and I learned through many hardships what to do and what not to do, especially when you're given guidance that doesn't resonate with you. Don't follow it because it makes sense. That was like my biggest breakthrough, was like, don't just do this because it makes sense. Do this because it resonates with your heart and it makes sense for your soul. Because logic is going to be logic, but magic supersedes logic any day of the week. So that's my approach to entrepreneurship.
Do you find that today, more than in the past, people are almost slaves to data and analytics?
Yes.
It's so frustrating to me, because I consider myself to be a creative type, and the creative process seems to have been reduced to, or at least in importance, it's not considered as on par with data and analytics.
Definitely. Like what the way that you share that, it kind of reminds me of like the competition between the left brain and the right brain.
Yes.
Right. And so a lot of times, like, I think we feel like there's the logical elements of life, especially in the Western world. I don't speak for the Eastern world. I speak for the Western world, but it feels like so much of what we're confronted here is all about structure, and it's all about black and white thinking, and it's all about, like you said, data, analytics, logistics. And I think all of that has a place, but I don't think it should be the leader. I think creativity should be the leader. And I think the data and analytics and logistics actually follow the creativity, not vice versa.
Interesting.
So, yeah. It's quite a conversation, because it also touches on like the notion between the masculine energy, the feminine energy, right? The feminine energy is like considered like kind of emotional and a little chaotic, but like full of color, and like has freedom to sort of explore its edges and to be able to come up with new ways and new ideas, and to be able to put something out in the universe that's never been there before, right? Flexibility, yeah. But then you think of like the masculine energy. The masculine energy, I like to say, is like the glass, right? So it's like, it's the container for the feminine energy. So if the container is the masculine energy, the container can be big, and it can be really strong, and it can hold structure so that the feminine energy doesn't get completely out of whack, right? Doesn't start disturbing humanity with it, right? It's like if every woman on this planet was like angry, and all of her anger was creating all the art on the planet, like that would probably wreak havoc, right? It's like, that's the kind of energy. But it's like, if there's like a solid container of like how to create within that safe container, then the feminine energy can be free. And right now the feminine energy doesn't have a lot of space to be free, because those containers are very small, it feels like. And so it's like everyone's trying to do things in these very set, boxy ways. And like the way that I approach life and the way that I approach business is like, don't do it in a boxy way. Do it in your heart's way. Your heart already has the blueprint for your business in it. There is a spirit working with your business. Your job is to connect to the spirit of your business, find out what that spirit is here to do, make a nice bridge between you and the spirit of your business, and ask the spirit of the business what it needs from you on a day-to-day basis, so you can show up for it and be the best that you can be with that space, right? And sometimes that looks different than what it says in a business book, or, you know, what you learned at a Tony Robbins conference.
Selena, I can relate to having my own business. I've had people giving me advice, telling me I should be doing this and that, but I've been doing what I feel is right for me, and trying to block out the noise, and being an entrepreneur, small business owner. Mindset is important as passion is. Mindset is just as important, because you're going to be dealing with a lot of people trying to pull you in different directions.
Yeah, the stronger you are on the inside, the more successful you are going to be, because really great business people do not have, they're not easily bendable, right? They know what they want. They know what they want to create in the world. They know what their service or their product is here to do, and they're not going to mess around with that. They're not going to let someone else come in to their ear and tell them to be pulled in another direction, right? So I have a course called like New Earth Business Codes, and my first foundational code is called Know Who You Are and Know How You Serve, right? And when you know who you are and you know how you serve, as you got to own that like a pillar, right? It's like that is your spine. That is the pillar of your business. Who are you and how do you serve? And as soon as that is solidified within yourself, nobody can tell you otherwise, right? And that's where you can grow your business from that foundational point.
So Selena, how did you get to this point? What is your background? What led you to opening your own business in this
Yeah.
field?
I mean, I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs. So like, I don't know any
Oh.
different. Like for us, it's like my family were refugees to Canada from Africa, and they just had to like find a way to make it work. And, you know, my dad was a used car dealer, and he was in integrity, and most used car dealers around were not in integrity. I was very inspired by my father's journey, because he would be so honest about the cars that he was selling. Like,
Oh.
yeah, you know, like, you want to buy this car, it's got this problem, you know, so I'll
Mhm,
sell it to you
mhm.
for this much, but you're still going to have to pay for this, this, and this if you want to get it fixed. And you might not notice right away when you just drive it off, but I don't want to lie to you, right?
But
And
that
like,
probably set him apart from his competitors. It's
I mean,
probably
this put us through
refreshing.
private school as kids. Like, I'm not kidding you. Like,
Ah.
this approach of honesty and integrity is what I was raised in. And when I would go and do business elsewhere with other businesses, I would not see that level of loyalty, honesty, integrity, respect with me as a client. And that would just peeve me off, because I grew up in a family where this was imperative. And it was very important to talk to people, clients, customers, as humans, you know, not as
Mhm.
dollar signs or numbers, to really look at what the person is looking for and ask yourself, do I have something in my capacity within my business to serve what this person is looking for, with love and with care and compassion, not with
Mhm.
hard sales and, you know, a very manipulative approach, which I think a lot of us have dealt with in sales. So this is my way of creating something for the future of humanity, to showcase, listen, we don't have to go about it in such harsh, manipulative ways. There's enough abundance on this planet for everybody, right? We don't need to
Yes.
hurt each other or manipulate each other or pull out greed tactics and power tactics to override one another. We're here to be ourselves fully, and to respect and have compassion for each other. If I know I'm not the right person for you, I'm not going to hold back from recommending you to my competitor who I think is damn good. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that, right? I don't have a problem admitting if I can't serve you in some way. Not like, it's just really being honest about what you can do for people and how you can do it. And if you can't, do your best to point them in the right direction, you know?
Selena, and I know Marlene's sort of in it too, but being in
Mhm.
the media radio industry,
Yeah,
it's a cutthroat business, and it's
sure,
very competitive, and
sure.
not everybody in the industry is going to be your friend, and you have to know the difference between acquaintances and friendships as well. And you
Yep,
mentioned the word sales.
yep.
Doing what I'm doing and
Um,
what Marlene does, you also have to sell yourself. And if you don't believe in
Yep.
yourself, nobody else will.
100%. Yep, I totally agree. And you have to have good discernment, right? You have to know like what is in it for people. Some people genuinely see your heart and see your soul, and they're like, "Hey, I like what you're doing. Let's connect, let's collaborate, let's co-create, let's do something fun." Right? Whereas other people are going to be like, just trying to take you down if they feel like they're threatened by your power in some way. But your job is to just hold your ground and know that nobody can take you down if you're following your God-given path. You know, if you're following your ego's path, yeah, for sure, that can be taken down any day, right? But if you're following your soul-led path, no one, I mean, I've had people try to take me down. I've had people copy my workshops, literally,
oh,
and actually took my name and copied my workshops and said that they were doing,
wow.
yeah, like I was really well known for running events and workshops. The people would come to my workshops, and the transformations they got were just insanity.
Mhm.
And when I left the city that I did them in, people were trying to copy me. Nobody could copy me. Nobody knew my recipe, and nobody at the end of the day was me. Right. So it's like,
Mhm.
what I learned is like, don't stop doing me just because other people are jealous or they're trying to betray
Mhm.
me or act like they're my friends, but really they're just trying to get my secret recipe so that they can replicate it. It's like, no, like nobody can be me in this world. Even if they had the exact same recipe that I use, they cannot do it like me, because they're just not me. Right.
So how do you deal with that? Because it initiates a visceral response.
Oh, well,
It's
yeah, my
and
visceral response is I literally left the city. And
yes,
I had to
because
go heal myself, because that was brutal. You know,
yes, yes,
I really felt betrayed, and I had to go through my own healing journey. And then I had to realize, you know what? I really believe that we create a lot of our reality from our experience. And a lot of that reality for me looked like my childhood in repetition. It just looked like a same story, different file, right? So essentially, I had to go heal my childhood and be like, why do I keep attracting this in my life? What is it about me? What do I believe about me? Do I believe I'm a threat? If I believe I'm a threat, then I'm a threat everywhere I go. Well, that's not very friendly. That doesn't attract good relationships. So, I had all these things going on in the back of my mind that like people were intimidated by my power and things like that. And so I manifested it. Right. And I admit that to myself. And I had to go on this healing journey to realize that I need to really shift my belief patterns here. And when I did that, it stopped happening.
Marlene and Selena, I was going to say, I've had a number of comedians on my show, and I've always asked for my guests to give me clips of their work to showcase their talent. But I know with comedians specifically, they don't like putting their clips on YouTube and video because there's a lot of theft in the comedy industry. Yeah, stealing in the comedy industry. And Marlene, I just want to get your thoughts on it too.
I am a bit conflicted. I guess I would give different advice to different people because I believe in getting your work out there. If you keep it precious, then there's a good chance it'll stay that way. But you can be safe about how you share things. You can watermark stuff. You can trademark and copyright, and also as soon as you create something, it is a copyright if you have a paper trail or a video trail or something like that. But I personally, I lean more towards putting it all out there because you never know what might happen, and it's an occupational hazard of being a creator. If you keep it hidden, then you're a closet creator. It's harder to be a professional if you can't share your work. And you know what? A lot of jobs too, if you're applying to be, well, a lot of different jobs, sometimes they'll ask you to submit some kind of test or proof of concept or something to demonstrate that you can do the work. And sometimes if you've got good enough samples out there, that's enough. You don't have to go jump through those extra hoops. And so there are pros and cons, but I tend to encourage people to just put their work out there and hope for the best, and then know that there are safeguards in place if you run into a problem, and hope that you don't.
And to be honest to both of you, when I started this journey of mine 5 years ago, I was putting everything into private settings or friends only. And somebody told me nicely, hey, Chris, if you want to get into radio and media, people have to see your work. So over time, I opened everything up, and now every social media site I'm on is public, but I'm also very responsible in what I put on there for content as well.
Yeah. Yes. It's true. I work a lot with the autism community, and when I first started that 5 years ago, I was working with a nonprofit that was very much set up from the perspective of special education and the healthcare system, where those two entities are all about confidentiality and secrets, and rightly so, because you're dealing with people's medical history and so forth. But I was tasked with opening an animation studio for an autistic population, and the administrators above me they came guns a-blazing. We can't share our work with anybody because HIPAA laws. We have these health laws in the US about people's private medical information and so forth. And so we had to come to a compromise as far as what things we would be able to share publicly, because certainly we wanted the work of the artists to be out there so that they could be employable, but yet keep certain personal details confidential. So it's oftentimes a balancing act.
Interesting.
Selena, you're also an author of a book, and I think I had you on 3 weeks ago. We didn't really get into the book as much, so I
No, we
wanted to
didn't.
ask you, what was your inspiration in writing your book, Elemental Wellness, and what was the writing process and the publishing processes like?
That's a great question. I really believe my daughter that I was pregnant with at the time wrote the book through me.
Oh, how
I
wonderful.
She's like 13 months now. But yeah, I wrote the book when I was pregnant. I didn't even plan on writing a book in this life. Like I didn't know that there was a book coming through. Like my daughter and just getting pregnant, like the things that have happened in my life and the things that I've been inspired to do have really shifted. Either they've gotten me to do things faster that I was putting on the shelf for long periods of time, like Soulpreneur. That was in my head for like a decade, but I never did anything until she was born. But the book, like I never saw that coming. So she just really inspired me. I mean, like her energy was just so powerful to feel in my womb. I had like the most beautiful pregnancy, just feeling her every day. I was just like, I have like an angel inside me. Like it's just
Oh,
I didn't work, like my husband worked at the time. Now we kind of switch roles, but at the time it was just like her closeness just like made me feel so loved and connected to the divine that I was like, I want to do something with this. And as an NLP master practitioner and someone who's held over maybe 200 meditation healing events, I thought
hmm,
I'm going to put some cool journeys into a book here, and I'm going to have it inspired by the elements. And she gave us her name, Asana Featherstone, like while I was pregnant. That was what she said she wanted her name to be. And there's just so much elemental value in that in itself. And really just got me connecting to this notion of like, wow, fire is so powerful, wind is so powerful, the earth is so powerful, water is so powerful, and all of these elements really can nourish us in different ways. And so like I was like, but I want to go into like the nitty gritty of that, like in what ways, right? And I want to like create journeys with each of these. So I created like the purifying waterfall and the creek of clarity and like the tornado release and like the earthquake shakeup and the winds of change. And like I just had so many cool, the bonfire of fears. Like there was just one thing after another that was just being channeled through me. And so I decided to write these journeys and put them all in a book for people to read and have their own experience, subconscious experience, shifting out of old paradigms and entering into new belief patterns using the visualization of the elements. And just like you, Marlene, I'm a creator to the max. Like, I don't know if you've done the wealth dynamics test. There's a test
no.
literally called the wealth dynamics test. If you want to do it, listen, in this test, it'll ask you so many different questions, like 25 different questions. And then by the end, it's going to give you all your archetypes in order, like your top 3, I believe. And so there's like various different archetypes. And like my number one archetype was the creator, which means that like my greatest wealth is going to come from really following my creative bliss. Whereas not that it's not everybody's archetype, right? Like my second one was the star, which means like I need to be seen in public. Like I need to be on a stage of some kind. I need to, be teaching or running events and things like that, which is what I was doing. And then my third one was the mechanic, which is interesting because I also have this coaching consulting element of me, which is like fixing problems. The mechanic is a fixer of problems. So it's like one of my excitements is like, oh, you got a problem here. Let's fix that up right now. What's going on in your business or what's, and like I get to explore that part of me in my coaching. But yeah, it's like the creative element of like visualizing and just seeing in my imagination these ways to create opportunities for my body to heal. It was working on me. So I'm like, if it's working on me, and it's working in my classes, and I've run hundreds of these classes, it's going to work on people that read a book about it. And so I created a book about it. And that's where we're at today.
Fantastic. Congratulations. That's a huge accomplishment.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's very exciting.
I love Bonfire of Fears.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Is very good.
That's a good one. That one, you're like you're imagining yourself sitting around a campfire, and you have a paper and a pen in your hand, and you're writing down all the fears that you have about a particular subject that you might be working through. And as you're writing out these fears, they're coming out of your body. And then I take you through this journey of like throwing the paper into the fire and seeing it turn into ashes and feeling all the fears leave your body as you're staring at the crackling fire. And so like, yeah, that's Bonfire of Fears.
I love it. That's my favorite. It's from what you described, it's very compelling.
Yeah, there's Flames of Passion. There's one called Hotspot. It's like, we get a little nitty gritty in the sacral. There's all kinds of stuff in there for all kinds of people. Yeah.
Plans for another book in the future? And for those people watching live stream or on audio, what advice would you give them if they're looking to write their own book?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, I'll be honest, like my husband inspired me to write my book because he's an author of The Messenger. He wrote a really crazy book about Jesus in his 20s, like super, not a religious guy, not a Christian. He just had visions of Jesus in his 20s and decided to write a book about it, right? So like super controversial. And that's like really what inspired me to write my book. So I would say, like, if you feel like your book feels weird for society, or if it feels like it's just not going to fit in, do it, especially do it because society needs different right now. We don't need the same message over and over and over again. I've read 500 books, 300 of them were the same book, like
Wow.
in different spirit, like all the spiritual books say the same thing, essentially in different words, right? There was a couple that really I felt were different, like the Surrender Experiment hit me different. There was a couple that were really powerful, but for the most part, the more I was reading, the more I'm like, these are all saying the same thing, right? Like someone tell me something a little different, do it in a different way, tickle me differently, and I just think that, like, if you're a creative person and you have a book to write, like, don't, like, it's original, like, don't copy something that you read or saw, but if there's something in your heart that's really special, like, the world needs to hear it, the world needs to read it, the world needs to see it, because how do we develop humanity in our consciousness if we're not ever evolving and given opportunities to do so? Books are that opportunity, right? Yeah.
Before Marlene heads out in a couple minutes, just
Yeah.
wanted to get Marlene's thought and your thought on the shrinking hard copy industry. And do you still see a future for hard copy books going forward, or is everything going to transition to digital?
I love hard copies.
Me too. I think hard copy books are akin to vinyl records. There's a place for them.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's hard for a lot of industries to monetize these days. It's not just the book publishing, it's periodical publishing and all kinds of media, and the way we consume media is different than it was 10, 15 years ago even. So, but yeah, I hope physical books never go away, because also it's really hard on your eyes to read screens all day, and I don't want to read a screen right before I go to bed, or it's not always conducive or relaxing, and it's a lot of work. So I enjoy the screen breaks.
Good.
What's the best way for somebody to purchase your book online? And Marlene, do you have one more question for our guests before you head off shortly?
I don't have any more questions, but I'm certainly going to be doing some Googling. I'm going to be Googling all of Selena's treasures.
Thank you. You could go to Amazon, actually. I've uploaded my book on Amazon. You can get an ebook if you want. You can also get a paperback. If you buy the paperback and you email me with a picture of you with the paperback, I will gift you the audiobook that I just finished. So that's a whole other game changer. But you can look up Elemental Wellness, 24 guided meditations inspired by the elements. And it's Selena Ella Moon. It's on Amazon, and I've got some great reviews there already, so you can check out what other people are saying. And if this is something that excites you, if you're going to go on a healing journey with it, please, I have my email in the book itself, so please email. I always encourage people to reach out to me, because I genuinely want to hear what your story is and how this book shapes you. It's important to me because it informs my next book if I write a next book. Yeah.
You will.
Thank you.
I feel certain of it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I hope so.
Well,
yeah.
Before we wrap this up, Selena, in a couple of minutes, Marlene, just final thoughts before you head out, and we'll hopefully see you in April.
Just thank you, Selena. And also, your parents chose the most perfect name for you. It's like they knew what your destiny was to be. And it's been delightful to talk to you.
Thank you so much. It's been a delight to talk to both of you as well.
Marlene, thank you.
Have a
Bye.
good
Marlene, thank you
rest
so
of the
much.
conversation. Take care.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for coming on, Marlene, and we'll see
Bye-bye.
you
My
for
pleasure.
episode 4. See you in April.
Yes. See you later.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
so much.
Bye.
Bye.
See you.
Selena, before we wrap this up,
Yeah.
yes, I wanted to kind of do little different questions than we did a few
Sure.
weeks ago.
Of course.
And the book too. How many
Yeah.
pages is the book, by the way?
Oh, I don't even know. It must be like 100 and something pages.
And what
Yeah.
was it like getting it published? Did you self-publish or did you find
Yes.
a good publisher?
I
Self-published?
self-published. My husband helped me. We first hired someone to do the graphics, didn't like the graphics. So my husband helped me create new graphics using AI tools, which was really interesting. My husband also helped me use Canva to come up with the cover, the front cover and the back. And he had already published his own book, so he actually already knew the whole process of publishing, and it was pretty like there's some techie things in there. So for me personally, if I didn't have my husband, I would have for sure hired somebody on Fiverr to do it, because there's tons of people on Fiverr that'll do it for you. Just send them your manuscript and they'll do it for you. And then after that, after uploading, I did hire someone to do the description, because the description, I wanted it to be like SEO friendly. So if people were looking up certain things, that they would be able to find the book, because there's so many books in this wide sea of books on the internet. So I wanted it to be searchable. So I hired someone to do the SEO. And then now I'm actually really excited because it hasn't officially started. I've officially started making videos, but I have a video editor working on my videos, and I've done a video on every meditation in the book about what the meditation is supposed to do for you and what it's about, what inspired it. And I will be releasing those videos in the coming months as well on a YouTube channel, so that people can get a sense of like what the meditations are for and how they're meant to help people, because there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, right? So.
And I want to say thank you to connecting me with Monica Aurora
Absolutely.
Burr, who came on my show last week. And just thoughts on Monica and how much of an impact has she had on your business as well?
I've been working with Monica for over a decade on her business as her business
Wow.
consultant. And so Monica's played a really big role in that she's always there to help me push my limits to the edge. And her business always seems to inform me about how I can do consulting better, right? And I feel like that, yeah, she's just really good with marketing. Like she really knows how to market, and she really knows how to look at a business and understand its needs. And I find that very, very powerful gift. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have time for a couple quick
Sure.
questions? Couple more minutes?
Absolutely.
One, I have a viewer watching on
Yeah.
Twitch.
Okay.
I can't pronounce your name on Twitch, but I want to say thank you for the question. It's a good question. Does Selena feel old books should be digital so the author can make edits and updates to the stories, then push them to customers through Kindle or other e-readers?
That's a good question. Yeah, that's a good question. It is a lot easier when the books are digital to make the edits, because when you have a book, it's never good enough. Like, that was my experience. Like, I just never felt like my book was ready. And my husband just said, just put it out. And because it's digitized, you can go and you can make those changes as you need to. And it does feel easier to put the book out knowing that it doesn't have to be perfect the first time that you put it out. There is a sense of, like, from an author perspective, that you just have that freedom to make changes as you go, and it's not set in stone. So I do appreciate having the opportunity to do that, for sure.
Everything is going to digital, and I
Mhm.
like digital too, but I
Yeah.
still like hard copy books, like you mentioned. I still
Yeah.
like my CDs,
Mhm.
and musicians still like having vinyl records, which are now back in style as well. So I think
For
people
sure.
should always have a choice, just like our cashless society. I think
Mhm.
if people still want to carry cash on them, I think
Yeah.
people should always have a choice, especially with
Agreed.
writing books too. If people want a hard copy, they should have that choice.
Chris, do you have a library in your house? A little place
Uh,
where you hold books?
No, but I should. I don't have a lot of books, but I do have
Mhm.
a number of books that I like, and I
Okay.
probably should have one.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but like for me, like when I walk into a home library or even just a library in general, the feel that I get from that is like I feel like I'm stepping into a world of possibilities, you know? Like I feel like I'm like Alice in Wonderland. And it just feels like there's something very special about having like that tactile experience with the paper. Especially now that I have a baby and like we're kind of reading her books and things like that. Like there's no way I would want to read her a book on a Kindle, right? Like I want her to feel the edges of the papers and like look at the images and stuff like that and just have it her own tactile experience. And as an adult as well, like there's something about turning a page. I don't know, it just that feeling of just turning a page just feels so good.
And I have to admit too, for many years, I would get a morning newspaper every day,
Oh yeah,
but
okay.
the last 10 years, because of digital technology,
Yeah, you don't need to.
the newspaper industry has shrunk, and you should see some of these newspapers. They're like 10 or 15 pages, and I would like to see that continue, but it just seems like it's
Yeah.
going to it's yeah. I definitely agree with you on the paper copies.
Well, with newspapers it's different, right? Because it's like or is it? It's like because it's holding news. It's holding stories, but they're news stories. So it's like it's serving a moment in time, right? And I feel like whereas books are serving, they're like timeless, right? So I feel like maybe, but maybe that's just because I'm not a historian, right? So I just feel like the best thing to do is to keep books alive if you can by purchasing books and keeping books around if you like them, because it's just giving that message out to the universe like, hey, we still value this stuff. Hang on to it, right?
Just like I like getting autographed copies of books too.
Yeah. Yeah. My husband autographs every copy he gives out. Like, yeah, it's his thing. So it's cool.
Before we wrap this up, I found a video off of your website,
Hmm.
soulpreneurinstitute.com, and it's
Yep.
actually from a testimony from Monica.
Oh,
Uh,
cool.
I'm just gonna
Yeah,
I'm just gonna play this here, and then we'll wrap it up. And
sure.
just let me know if you can hear the audio. Okay, just give me 1 second. And this is courtesy of your website, soulpreneurinstitute.com.
Hmm.
Hi, my name is Monica Rober, and I've been working with Selena for about 6 years now. We've
Yeah, that
done
she that was a
one-on-one
while ago.
coaching. I've attended her retreats, and the information I get when I work with Selena is so valuable. I've been able to make the right decisions for my business. I've been able to pivot and strategize for my business with the advice intuitively that she's given me. And I've also been able to become more spiritual as a human, understanding what that looks like, what actions I need to take to get to that level of spirituality. She has been integral in making a lot of the decisions even in my personal life. If you haven't already, I highly recommend working with Selena.
And that was courtesy of your website as well. And just thoughts on Monica again, and thoughts on Monica, and how why people are so connected to her, and how important I guess I should reword this question. How important is to have trust with people that you work with, trust and rapport.
Mm. Yeah, I think it's really good to have trust and rapport with people, especially when you're a marketer, because look, there's marketing agencies left and right around here. And a lot of people do get screwed over by marketing agencies. And because a lot of them are just saying that they're going to do something and then they don't actually do it, or they say it's going to cost something, but the cost doesn't reflect, the amount of effort or whatever it is. I think when you have someone that takes your business seriously and who's willing to investigate and research what your needs are specifically and really strategize something from a place of experience and wisdom, I think that says a lot for, the type of clients that are willing to work with her, because they're the clients that are serious about their business and they're looking for somebody who can actively support their marketing endeavors without being screwed over. They're looking for someone who's honest and capable of delivering results and has a track history of being able to do that. And Monica's got all of the above. So for me personally, I just feel like Monica's the best person to work with when it comes to marketing, because you're not wasting your time with someone who hasn't been in that industry for a long time. Plus, she's got a great team. I mean, I've worked with her team before. They're phenomenal people. They genuinely care about every client and they want to see results. They're not just doing it for the money. Like a lot of other people out there are just kind of working for the money. Like her team isn't, you know, they're like, I've led their team calls before in like monthly calls, and they're just such great people. They genuinely care about marketing and want to see, they get excited when we get a new client that's successful. Like that genuinely excites them, you know?
Doing this show, I've had people on LinkedIn and from other social media sites contact me about my SEO on YouTube and stuff like that. But my gut feeling was I didn't trust them. And to me, that is so important. Trust and rapport. And just like with you and my guests, I want my guests before they come on my show to check out my work and see if we're a good fit. Because not everyone's a good fit. And the thing with these shows is I want my guests to be able to feel comfortable, trust me, and develop a rapport with me. And that's like with any business.
Well, you're great at that. I mean, even the connection that you started with me through TikTok, we were going back and forth for a little while there. And, you know, just really appreciate you reposting my TikTok videos and things like that. You've been such a great support since day one. And I'm just genuinely grateful to be on your show again.
And give me a little bit of time, and I would like to buy your book. And I am going to work. You're welcome. And I'm going to work with Monica at some point as well with building my YouTube channel and maybe rebranding my show a little bit with a new opening video and a female voiceover. I already know that my next voiceover, I'd like a female one for this next one.
Oh, that's so fun. Awesome. Well, I'm excited to see what you guys come up with when the time hits.
Evolve. That's the thing too. In any career, whatever you do in life, you have to be willing to evolve because times and situations change over the decades. You can't just stay stagnant.
No, exactly. If you are, then you don't really get to go where you want to go, right?
Absolutely. And finally, where can our audience follow you on social media, your website, and the best way of contacting you, and any more upcoming projects you'd like to share on here before we wrap this up?
Yeah, I mean, I've got some pretty exciting YouTube content coming up, so definitely check me out on YouTube, Awaken with Selena. Also check out thesoulepreneurinsitute.com. You can learn more about that if you're interested in joining. Please, you can join even just for a month, right? And just see what you get. You can cancel at any time, but I've had people come in there and say, "Oh my God, this is worth 4 times what you're asking for," because it's 10 years worth of videos that I've built over the years that are really insightful and have a lot of wisdom in there for people. And when they see it, they're just like, "Oh my goodness, like this is way more value than what you're asking for." And I really love hearing that, because I want people to feel like they're not just getting what they need, but they're getting what they want to.
And I'm hoping one day to get out to Nova Scotia and to the eastern part of Canada, because like you said, there's so much about this country that I haven't seen yet, and I'd like to as well. And hey, I want to say thank you so much, Selena, for coming on live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show and the Small Talk podcast with Marlene. I know she enjoyed talking to you. Unfortunately, she had to leave a little bit early today, but I want to say thank you for fitting us into your schedule with 3 different time zones. It wasn't easy, and continued success in what you do. And you know, you have an open invite to come back on here again in the future as well.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you so much for having me. I truly feel genuinely grateful to be here. And I hope everyone watching got something useful out of this conversation. And if anything, hopefully you just feel more empowered to follow your path, because you deserve that. You deserve that level of happiness.
And just give me a little bit of time this afternoon, and I will send you the video, the audio, and I will break this into reels and clips on TikTok, and I will tag you in if you'd like to share it on your TikTok page as well.
Sure.
And would you like to promote your TikTok page since we're here?
Yeah, the only thing is I don't even know how. I don't know what my TikTok. Oh, here, you got it. It's underneath here. It's TikTok.com at Selena Ella Moon. There we go.
Right on the graphics, right there, everybody. So, and you can buy your book at Amazon.com. But hey, I want to say thank you so much for coming on here. Continue success, and we'll talk to you and keep in touch with you on social media.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me, and thanks everyone for watching. Till next time.
You too.
Bye.
Thanks, Selena. Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys, that concludes season 3, episode 3, overall 24 of the Small Talk podcast with Marlene Sharp and Chris Pomay. And I want to say thank you to our guest today, Selena Ella Moon, the founder and owner of Soulpreneur Institute. And you can check out her website at soulinstitute.com, soulpreneurinstitute.com. And want to say thank you to Marlene Sharp, who's on the West Coast, for being able to come in here today. It wasn't easy to do this show. Marlene is on the West Coast out in California. Selena is on Atlantic Standard Time in Nova Scotia, and I'm here on the East Coast near Toronto. So to get 3 people on in 3 different time zones, it's not an easy thing to do, but I want to say thank you to Marlene for coming on and Selena as well. And season 3, episode 4, the Small Talk podcast will happen in April. The date and the time and the guest to be announced as well. And before we wrap up this show, guys, the next live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, sponsored by BarryCullen.com on Thursday, April 3rd at 3 p.m. Eastern with my special guest, Flo Labrado, leadership and career development coach with Olive and Grace Leadership Coaching out of the state of Florida. So Thursday, April 3rd, 3 p.m., my special guest, Flo Labrado. And hopefully you guys can check in on that as well. And then Friday, April 4th at 11 a.m., I have Allison Burke from Oxford Learning in Waterloo coming on, and she's also a big fan of the Kitchener-Waterloo Titans as well as one of their sponsors. And then Saturday, April 5th at 6 p.m. Eastern, my special guest is Ryan Reeve, the founder and owner of the Women's Basketball League, the WBL. They have 6 teams in Detroit, Cleveland, Chicago, Indiana, Toronto, and he'll be on to talk about the new Women's Professional Basketball League called the WBL. Ryan Reeve, 6 p.m. on Saturday. And before we wrap this show up, guys, I am looking for more sponsors for Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, the Small Talk Podcast, and the Argo Bounce Podcast Show. If you're a local business or a business out there that would like to advertise on my live stream talk shows, you can email me at cpomay19@gmail.com. That's cpomay19@gmail.com. Or you can DM me on my social media pages, and let's see if we can get your business advertised on one or all of my 3 shows as well. And that's about it, guys. Again, thank you to Selena Ella Moon from Soulpreneur Institute for coming on, and my co-host Marlene Sharp as well. And I hope everybody has a great rest of the afternoon. And thank you to everyone watching this live stream and on my audio platforms. And before we wrap this up, I got one more question. And one more question is, are you going live for the Final Four? As of right now, I would say no. I would say no right now. So, but thank you so much. Grade Doc Forever from Twitch for watching this as well. So no, but I will be at a basketball game Wednesday, April 2nd, at 7 o'clock at the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium. It's a play-in game. We were basically the winner of the Kitchener Titans and Pontiac Pharaohs will advance to the Basketball Super League playoffs. So Wednesday night, winner takes all, 7 o'clock at the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium. Kitchener-Waterloo Titans taking on the Pontiac Pharaohs. You can get tickets at kwtitans.com, and please consider going out, support local pro basketball. And the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium is a fun place to go to watch the Kitchener Waterloo Titans play as well. And that is about it. Again, I want to say thank you to everyone for watching this show live streamed and on my audio platforms. And we will definitely see everyone back here at the end of April for season 3, episode 4 with Marlene Sharp and myself with another special guest as well. So take care, everybody. And we'll see you in about a month's time here on the Small Talk podcast with Marlene Sharp and Chris Pomay. Have a great afternoon, everybody, and talk to you soon.